On the eve of the CCP's fourth plenum, Beijing has descended into chaos. Weidong has vanished for 7 months, Shengmin has taken over, Xi Jinping has made a high-profile appearance in Gansu, the undercurrents of power in the military are surging. At the same time, the dirge, good for nothing, is sweeping the internet, CCTV has suffered a public fiasco, and a new wave of intellectual awakening is rising. China's ruling party is facing an unprecedented political shock. Don't miss the next drop, subscribe and enable the bell. Beijing has unraveled on the eve of the fourth plenum. The PLA's number 3 figure, Weidong, has vanished into thin air, silent for 7 months, and the latest signal, his position has already been filled by Zhang Shengmin, Secretary of the Central Military Commission's Discipline Inspection Commission. According to multiple overseas media analyses, Zhang Shengmin has long had close ties with Zhang Youxia and is viewed as part of the Shangxi faction. This implies that military power is flowing back from Xi Jinping to Zhang Youxia's system. This is not an adjustment but an internal takeover. At the same time, Xi Jinping's younger brother, Xi Jinping, suddenly appeared in Gansu. Local officials chanted the two upholds and rushed to declare loyalty. The entire Spirit of Nanyang conference turned into an impromptu loyalty performance. One brother shoring up the military, the other shoring up the stage. The fire inside Zongnanhai has already spread outside. Among the public, a dirge titled "Good for Nothing" went viral across the entire internet. Eyes open, they preach common prosperity. Eyes closed, they sigh over a nation in debt. The singers laugh, the listeners cry. Beijing didn't censor it this time, perhaps because even if they tried, they couldn't. At the same moment, CCTV read aloud on a program, "Kill the Communist Bandits" on the Mid-Autumn Festival, triggering an uproar across the internet and rebroadcasts by international media. The words the CCP fears most were spoken from its own mouth. On the ideological front, an article by Li Qingpeng ripped open the truth: the red country belongs to the red families, everyone else is manual laborers. That line became the last straw breaking the silence. Overseas commentator Song Huafu further warned, the biggest black swan event of this century is the collapse of the Chinese Communist Party. Shaken military morale, family members propping up the stage, the state broadcaster stumbling, public resentment exploding, and an awakening of thought. In the countdown week to the fourth plenum, China is entering a political earthquake that no one can predict. The military's number 3 disappears, his successor triggers factional shock. With the CCP's fourth plenum approaching, the name of CMC Vice Chairman Weidong is once again trending in political circles. The timeline of his disappearance can be precisely traced to March 11, 2025. That day, after the close of the National People's Congress, Weidong was taken away on the spot while returning to Bai Building. The news was first revealed by former Chinese media figure Zhao Lanjian on X, formerly Twitter, and was quickly followed up by U.S. outlets including The Washington Times and Newsweek. U.S. intelligence agencies even directly concluded that this was a political purge within the military. From then on, Weidong completely vanished from public view. His residence was raided, and reports related to him on the Ministry of National Defense website were wiped clean in a short time. By October 15, the ministry simply removed the leadership section altogether. Searching Weidong left only 2 old links, which both led to 404. Such total erasure is not uncommon in CCP power struggles and usually means the person has been formally dealt with. From mid-March to the end of September, Weidong was absent from almost every major political event in China. This tableau of systematic absence speaks louder than any official announcement. March 14, at the symposium marking the 20th anniversary of the anti-secession law's implementation, he should have attended as the vice chairman in charge of political work, but was not present. Early to late April, from the CMC tree planting activity, the Central Peripheral Work Conference, the Dual Support Conference, to the Politburo's collective study session, he appeared in none of the footage. June 8, at the memorial for former vice chairman Xu Chiliang, Weidong did not even send a wreath. September 3, he again missed the Beijing military parade. September 30, at the routine flower-laying ceremony in Tiananmen Square, nearly all Politburo members were present, except Weidong. This string of no-shows cannot be explained away as illness, it looks much more like an already underway purge within the military. Why delay the announcement for so long? 3 worries make Beijing drag its feet. 1. The slap in the face would be too loud, she would be embarrassed. Weidong was Xi Jinping's personally and rapidly elevated top confidant. Before 2022, he was merely commander of the Eastern Theater. He was neither a Central Committee member nor a Politburo member. At the 20th Party Congress, she vaulted him in one leap from theater commander to Politburo member and CMC vice chairman, making him the third most powerful man in the military after Xi and Zhang Yoxia. To have him fall within 2 years, after Wei Fenghe, Li Shangfu, and Miao Hua, amounts to a heavy blow to Xi's face. Officials would not want to create such an awkward scene before the fourth plenum. 2. It touches the political bottom line, not just corruption. According to a confidential CMC document conveyed internally in April, Weidong and Miao Hua were characterized as forming cliques and political gangs, severely undermining the military's political ecology, even described as great traitors feigning loyalty, unforgivable. Such characterizations go beyond simple corruption and approach the standard of political careerists, evoking the cases of former CMC Vice Chairman Guo Buxiong and Su Kaiho. Overseas reports also mentioned a batch of active generals and commanders linked to him being implicated. Under such circumstances, the CCP is even less likely to disclose details. 3. Fear of arousing military and public anger. 3 years of zero COVID stoked public resentment. The economy now slumps, popular anger is high. If the public and soldiers learn that Xi's personally promoted own man in the top brass is also deeply corrupt, the fury could burn toward the regime itself. A leak, Weidong retires smoothly. Just as outsiders thought the authorities would maintain silence, on October 16, Australia-based vlogger Jiang Wangzheng claimed in a video, Weidong's situation has become clear, at least during his term, it's a smooth retirement. He further asserted that the CMC vice chairmanship had been filled by Zhang Shengmin, not the previously rumored Lu Zhenli. According to multiple overseas media reports and commentaries, Zhang Shengmin comes from the military's discipline and political work systems and has long been responsible for investigation and oversight within the CMC. He is widely believed to have close ties with Zhang Yoxia and to share a Shangxi background. However, there is no official document confirming he belongs to Zhang Yoxia's faction. That characterization mainly comes from public opinion and analysts. In the video, Zhang sat in front of a plaque reading Top Gun, signed by Xi Jinping, exuding a by imperial order vibe, which led observers to believe his message was likely a deliberate tone-setting signal from Beijing. Previously a CMC member and CMC discipline chief, Zhang Shengmin holds the knife handle of discipline and personnel vetting. His replacing Weidong suggests she may prefer a technical adjustment to smoothly rotate the top brass without provoking a new political storm before the fourth plenum. Xi Jinping appears in Gansu, local heavyweights pledge loyalty to Xi. On October 13, Gansu held the inaugural conference of the Nanyang Spirit Research Association, along with a seminar on the Nanyang Spirit and the United Front. Provincial Party Secretary Hu Changsheng attended and spoke. Governor Ren Jinhe presided. Xi Jinping's younger brother Xi Jinping spoke as a representative of revolutionary forebears families. Hu stressed that in the early 1930s, CCP figures such as Lu Zhidan, Xie Zichang, and Shi Zhongxuan established the Shaanxi-Gansu border base area with Nanyang as the center. The best way to commemorate revolutionary predecessors is to implement General Secretary Xi's instructions from his inspection tour of Gansu, to unwaveringly be loyal to the party, deeply grasp the decisive significance of the two establishes, resolutely achieve the two upholds, and consciously be firm believers and faithful practitioners of Xi Jinping thought for a new era. Xi Jinping's trip was not in vain. At a sensitive moment before the fourth plenum, he prodded Gansu's heavyweights to express loyalty to Xi Jinping. Why did the dirge, good for nothing, go viral without being taken down? Juxtaposed with the Nanyang spirit is the counter-trend explosion of the dirge, good for nothing. Since October this year, the song has swept across both sides of the Taiwan Strait and then the global blogosphere. Countless covers spread across the entire internet. On Douyin, the topic, Wang Shijian good for nothing, broke 100 million views, with over 100,000 related videos. Creative covers on Bilibili have garnered over 5 million likes in total. Even more unusual under China's stringent opinion control, the authorities have not pulled the song. This phenomenon-level earworm has jolted the nerves of China's disillusioned youth. Overnight it became a cultural totem and psychic bomb for the dispirited masses. Its unexpected popularity reflects the current plight of China's underclass, unemployment and lying flat, no prospects, no future. In this numbness and slump where fate is not one's own, good for nothing has sparked a self-mocking carnival and heart-piercing resonance, sweeping the internet like a tsunami. One mainland netizen used Wang Shijian's lyrics to perfectly sketch the trajectory of grassroots destiny. At 18 entering college, calm and unhurried, upon graduation brimming with passion, all in control, at 30 overtime is normal, the 996 grind, rushing about, at 40 the midlife crisis, laid off and rolling and crawling, at 50 life is a play and the play is life, lying with eyes open, at 60 retired and babysitting grandchildren, exhausted to tears, at 70 looking back on the past, good for nothing. Some wielded wild humor, weaving Xi Jinping's bungled economic policies into a good-for-nothing set of lyrics. With Zhang Nanhai as the backdrop, Xi leads a rendition of the economy version. We were supposed to be infrastructure champions, calm and unhurried, with soaring housing prices, all in control. Now, unfinished projects everywhere, Evergrande collapses, developers rolling and crawling. Eyes open for common prosperity, eyes closed, national debt, why cry? Good for nothing. Next, the tech version, we were supposed to self-produce chips and overtake on the curve, calm and unhurried, with tens of trillions invested, all in control. Now SMIC is choked, Huawei cries poor, rolling and crawling to beg the US for waivers. Eyes open for self-reliance, eyes closed, strangled, why cry? Good for nothing. Finally, the Chinese dream version, we were supposed to personally deploy and command, calm and unhurried, all in control. Now in a rush, the yellow beam dream shattered, rolling and crawling. Eyes open declaring, a level gaze at the world, the east rising and west declining, eyes closed lamenting, total unfinished business, stepping down at the fourth plenum, why cry? Good for nothing. The Xi version dirge has intense immersiveness, truly the most dispiriting anthem of the new era. As for why Beijing didn't block the song, some believe that amid the resonance of youth unemployment, housing pressure, and falling incomes, allowing self-mocking, low-intensity emotions to surface provides a controllable pressure release valve before the fourth plenum. Others think that under Xi's rule, dissatisfaction within the CCP and society at large has piled up, there are too many breaches to plug, or the authorities have deliberately chosen to let it be. Li Qingping exposes the truth the CCP most fears people will know. As the fourth plenum draws nearer, the stage is filled with various displays of loyalty and personnel jockeying. Offstage, social sentiment is fermenting on another track. Chinese journalist, writer, and commentator Li Qingping published a long piece, an analysis of China's social strata and the kindling of the dark forest. He wrote that in a socialist state one must not analyze social classes. What if the truth is laid bare? There is a class that is fixed, bricks pressed beneath the pyramid. No matter how hard you try, you cannot move up even one step. There are walls that are invisible. No matter how hard-headed you are, in the end you are just a ghost trapped in a maze. Knowledge cannot change your fate, labor cannot change your fate, patriotism cannot change your fate. A recent buzzword is laborers, ligong, along with laborer all-in, ligong swoha, referring to low-status, resource-less laborers eking out a basic existence, a lifetime of toil and ending up with nothing. These terms are frightening, like a spell that easily wakes the sleeping populace. In a certain doctrine, a slumbering, ever-toiling populace is the best resource. Once awakened, it's no good, they will see their true identity. What? I'm not the successor to communism, I'm a human battery, walking ore. They begin to think, to ponder their rights and where to claim them. That's disastrous. So the CCP's Ministry of Truth swiftly banned words like laborer and laborer all in. Li used the case of teacher Wan to tell the story of a laborer life. As a child, Wan's parents were struggled against. As the son of dogs, he was forced to accompany the denunciations. The production team chief favored a particular method, lay poles across tables to make a balance beam, forcing the family to walk the tightrope while reciting quotations from Chairman Mao. If anyone fell or stumbled, their buttocks were beaten with the pole. Young Wan stumbled and fell often, his parents were often beaten. One day the father could no longer bear the humiliation and jumped into a river, the mother fell ill and died as well. Wan was 16 that year, and he went mad. He was very good at school, especially math, physics, and chemistry, but when he relapsed, he would set up poles and practice tightrope walking, muttering Mao quotes or chemical formulas. He fed pigs for the production team and earned no work points. The team only provided one meal a day. At age 28, Xinjiang came to recruit. The team chief seized the chance to send him to build the frontier, thinking it was not cost-effective to feed a madman. Even one meal a day wasn't worth it. In the vast solitude of Xinjiang, one had no family, no leisure. He bricked adobe houses day after day and also fed pigs. His segmented co-raising method made pigs grow frenziedly and was promoted across Xinjiang. But the school didn't give him a teacher's status. A madman cannot have normal treatment. They gave him 3 meals a day and a monthly 5 yuan subsidy. One had no complaints. Aside from periodic madness, he was the finest laborer. After reform and opening, Chinese people lived better for a time, but most social resources were monopolized by red families. Most of the dividends of reform flowed into the pockets of those hundreds of red families. Meanwhile, ordinary Chinese were crushed by mortgages and car loans, sinking into debt. After Xi Jinping expanded state power at the expense of the private sector, foreign capital fled, factories closed, people were demoted in pay or laid off, and they were beaten back into a slave-like state of laborers and laborer all-in. CCTV's fiasco and the Black Swan. On the eve of the fourth plenum, the CCP intended to intensify its cognitive warfare pressure on Taiwan, yet because CCTV read a sensitive slogan on air, the incident went viral a second time, becoming a classic case of reverse propaganda. October 11th, Xiamen police issued a wanted notice for 18 members of Taiwan's Psychological Warfare Brigade, publishing names and photos. October 12th, CCTV's Focus Report aired a companion segment, naming so-called PSYOPs techniques and hinting, without naming, at the Taiwanese mobile game anti-unification, Flames of War. On screen, a Xiamen officer, pointing at the game, said, "We were shocked when we saw it," and, before a national audience, read out the in-game slogan word for word, on the Mid-Autumn Festival, "Kill the Communist Bandits." They intended to frame it as separatist ideology, but by broadcasting the most sensitive slogan directly, they immediately triggered public mockery. CCTV basically gave the game free advertising. Taiwan and Hong Kong media amplified the story with headlines like "CCTV shouts the key words," producing an effect far exceeding ordinary game promotion. Coincidentally, the anti-unification, Flames of War team thanked them on X and rolled out in-game Easter eggs like "Collect the Mooncake node in Xiamen," effectively turning CCTV's footage into a fan acquisition campaign. As the incident fermented, 2 typical reactions appeared in the comments. Mockery: "Cut that most provocative line for the trailer, I wouldn't have known the game without you." Curiosity: many who don't play games began searching to download or follow the gameplay. These responses were captured by multiple Chinese-language media and creators, spreading yet another round. Meanwhile, the Epoch Times published an article by Song Huafu titled, "The Biggest Black Swan of This Century is Imminent." The piece argued that since its founding, the CCP, this century-old shop, has, in peacetime, used dictatorial rule, propaganda lies, and repressive violence to cause the deaths of hundreds of millions of Chinese, with countless others worldwide persecuted or oppressed in various ways, including those wronged and killed during political campaigns and miscarriages of justice, the 3 and 5 Antis campaigns, the anti-rightist movement, the Cultural Revolution, the anti-corruption drives, the 1989 student movement, the Falun Gong incident, issues in Tibet and Xinjiang, Hong Kong's Occupy, the international COVID-19 episode, and more. As the truth is exposed and disseminated, Chinese people are gradually awakening. Over 400 million Chinese have published statements under pseudonyms to quit the Communist Party, the Communist Youth League, and the Young Pioneers. The CCP's ship has tilted due to these hundreds of millions of withdrawals. Thus, the biggest black swan of this century is the fall of the Chinese Communist Party.